What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you my fourth official mock draft for the 2021 NFL Draft. Some big shakeups. That was a great championship, even though I'm a Ohio State fan. I'm not mad at all. Definitely not. So let's hop straight in. Starting with the first pick, it is still very obvious. And no, this isn't because Justin Fields had a bad game. It's just Trevor Lawrence is the pick. A generational talent. You're never going to have an opportunity like this again. I would trade out of the number one pick maybe if I'm getting like the next 4 years of a team's draft picks and like Deshaun Watson or something. But otherwise, there's no way the Jaguars can screw this up. It has to be Trevor Lawrence. It has been since he was playing high school football. Like, it's the pick here. Then at number 2, the Jets. Now, a lot of people are either taking Justin Fields or Penei Sewell here, and I say no, because I say Zach Wilson. I can definitely see Devontae Smith here because, oh my God, that dude is just a god at football. Especially after he gets the ball. Dude is just amazing. I don't think his size is a concern at all. I've made the argument myself before. For a few mock drafts, I had them taking Penei Sewell and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to quarterback, especially with the new head coach. And apparently Doug Peterson is the new favorite. Or the other one was Robert Saleh, I think. But, they're going to want a new quarterback. And if you just look at the Jets, look at Sam Darnold. Okay, when I think of an NFL comparison for Justin Fields, the first guy that came to my mind was Sam Darnold. Why? I get it, Sam Darnold hasn't turned out or whatever. Why would you then go and draft a guy that plays almost exactly like Sam Darnold? It doesn't make sense to me. Zach Wilson has a hell of an arm. Dude is very mobile, pinpoint accuracy. I was really surprised that this guy wasn't in the running for Heisman because he's played so great this year. Again, why would you draft a guy that's the exact same as the guy you just had? So I think Zach Wilson's the pick here. Then the Dolphins at number 3. The Dolphins, so for a while, I had them drafting a receiver in Jamar Chase. And then once I had the Jets start taking a quarterback, I had them take Penei Sewell. Now, that'd be great. But Devontae Smith is playing on a level we've never seen before. I mean, this guy is the first Heisman wide receiver in like 30 years, right? I mean, the guy in the first half against Ohio State had like 200-something yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 catches. He was already breaking records by halftime. And that's not even to mention the rest of this incredible season that he's had. This dude is just insane. And I know Dolphins fans don't necessarily like taking a wide receiver here, but this guy is just transcendent. I mean, he takes that offense to a whole nother level. And I think he works too because this is a guy that all Tua needs to do is just get the ball to him. And Devontae will do the rest. That's literally all that needs to happen. Tua has some issues with fundamentals and throwing and reading and reading coverage and all that. Just get Devontae the ball, and that's the play. Like, the dude's crazy. I think it's a good pick here. Falcons, your guys' pick is going to stay the same. I know people are like hating on Justin Fields right now. Listen, he's had 3 bad games this year against Alabama, Northwestern, and Indiana. Now, Indiana's defense isn't that good. That was just a bad game. Northwestern and Alabama have maybe 1A, 1B of the best defenses in college football. Okay, so first off, and I'm not denying Justin Fields has issues. He has kinks he needs to work out. He has problem reading routes and stuff, if they're going to be open or not. Part of that's also been that the offensive line for Ohio State is not as good as everyone thinks. Trey Smith is fine. Wyatt Davis was I had him as a low first rounder at highest originally. He's dropped for me even now to the second or third round. So he was overhyped from the beginning. Our tackles are fine, but Justin Fields with some time, right? And in this case he's sitting behind Matt Ryan for at least 1 year. After a year or two, Matt Ryan's taught this guy what he can, right? Justin Fields has worked out those kinks. You shed Matt Ryan's contract, trade him off to some quarterback-needy team, and now you have a quarterback that personally I think has the highest floor in the class. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson are probably going to be better, but I see a world where Justin Fields is better than those guys, even though it's not likely. Wow, okay, thanks for letting me know, computer. I don't know if you guys saw that my computer's low on battery, so... Okay, we're good. Anyways, excuse me. So yeah, Justin Fields, I think he has the highest floor in the class. He has his kinks, but if you put him a year or two behind Ryan and then just trade Ryan away, this dude could be a fantastic quarterback, I think. Then the Bengals. See, last time I took Devontae Smith for obvious reasons, and then Bengals were like, well, why wouldn't they take Jamar Chase? LSU, and it was like, it was hard for me to take a receiver that hasn't even played over the way Smith has played. Smith is not on the board. And Jamar Chase makes sense for obvious reasons. I mean, LSU, he played with Burrow. That 1 year Burrow had fantastic. But Penei Sewell's dropped to you guys at number 5. And you already have some good receiving threats. Tyler Boyd's nice. AJ Green's declining, and T. Higgins has looked great. And I think Jamar Chase would be a great receiver, but you need to protect Burrow. And if Sewell is there at 5, you have to take this guy. I think all the people reaching for like Rashawn Slater and stuff at 5 is completely ridiculous. I don't see him going higher than a top 20 pick. So I think that's ridiculous. If Penei Sewell is still here at 5, you guys got to take him. Then the Eagles at number 6. Last time I gave them Micah Parsons, and for some reason they dropped him a bunch in their rankings. I'm not exactly sure why. I would still definitely consider taking him here, though, for sure. He fits like literally exactly what the Eagles need. Eagles fans were telling me like, well, we don't draft linebackers that high. Yeah, but this guy's not necessarily just a linebacker. I mean, and he's just amazing. But Jamar Chase is on the board, and you guys could really use like that number 1 receiver. I think Alshon Jeffrey would be a great second guy. Deshaun Jackson, I think, is great in the slot. Obviously, very speedy, even though he's like 33. Jamar Chase can be that true number 1 guy. Now, yeah, he only played 1 year at LSU. I mean, well, he only had like 1 great year at LSU with Joe Burrow. But I think he has the potential to be that number 1 guy. And, obviously Jalen Hurts is more of a running quarterback. But I think if the opportunity is there, Hurts is that guy that'll take it. And Jamar Chase gives you those opportunities. Then at number 7, we have the Lions. I would really love to give Kyle Pitts here. Because I've expressed how good this guy is. Might even be, after Smith, I can't say he's the best, but second best receiver in the class. Except you guys do have a tight end. I don't want people yelling at me. We already have Hawkinson. Again, this guy isn't just a tight end. Trey Lance is definitely an option here. Except I don't really think he fits the scheme of the Lions like at all, the way they like to play compared to how he plays. So I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle here. It was weird because, he obviously tore his ACL, I think it was, and then came back last night. 2 nights ago now, for, when you're watching this, or depending on when you're watching this, for the championship. He came back in the championship for a few plays. On the one big play he was on, he was running faster than most of the guys out there, and he was limping, basically. As soon as the play was over, he was limping. Now, I think it was a horrible decision for him to play. He needs to prepare himself for the draft. But I did think that shows a lot of how much heart this kid has, as well as the talent and the speed as well. This dude is so fast. I think pairing him with Kenny Golladay, because, they're at least going to franchise tag him if they don't extend him. I think it'd be a great pairing. So then the Panthers at number 8. Again, a spot I would really like to take Micah Parsons. You guys need that true number 1 linebacker because you don't really have it. There are 2 corners available on the board, but Panthers fans would get pissed if I didn't take the quarterback here. And Trey Lance, I think, works really well with it, with what they like to do. Trey Lance, for the most part at North Dakota, he's always been the guy that hands off the ball or throws to the running back a lot. And if the opportunity is there for a deep pass, he takes it. That's exactly how the Panthers like to play. They love to give the ball to Christian McCaffrey or Micah Davis if he's the starter. And then they look for those big plays to Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore or even Curtis Samuel. So I think it fits really well with the way that the Panthers like to play, and I think Trey Lance is the pick here, and they'd get mad at me if I didn't take them. So then the Broncos at number 9. Broncos, there are two very good corners on the board here, and Micah Parsons is also still available. Another team that would love to have a guy like Parsons, but I mean, they need a quarterback. Drew Lock is not the answer, and I don't understand why a Heisman finalist that played this year like Mack Jones did is at 48, but the Broncos are taking Mack Jones. Some reports that they actually really like Mack Jones. I think it really depends on the new GM, whoever they hire, because I just read something that one GM said that they would keep Lock but hire a veteran. One said they would just keep Lock overall, and one said they would get a new quarterback in this draft. So it kind of does depend on who they get as the new GM. But Mack Jones, I mean, he's just had such a phenomenal year. Besides Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, easily had one of the best quarterback seasons this year. Played phenomenal with Alabama, and obviously he had great targets to throw to and a great O-line. The Broncos don't have the best O-line, but they have some good targets. I think Mack Jones would work here. So I just think the Broncos need a new quarterback, and Mack Jones, I think, would be great for them. So then the Cowboys at number 10. Really easy pick here for me. It's between these two corners, and I like Farley better as a prospect. I think he has a super high floor, a way higher floor than Patrick Surtain, but I think Patrick Surtain is way more NFL ready. He didn't play the best in the championship, but besides that, he's had a really good season. And again, I think he's more NFL ready than Farley is, and I think that's what the Cowboys are looking for, is a more NFL ready guy, as well as the fact that he is just a bigger, lengthier. I think he fits with the Cowboys better. So then at 11, the Giants. Now, I mean, I really want to give you guys Kyle Pitts, and I've done that before, and then people get mad at me because you guys have Evan Ingram. There's also a really nice corner here. It's two fantastic linebackers. Heck, it's not too high to take Zaven Collins here, because there's been some reports that teams have him really high on their draft boards. Kwity Paye is right here, and you guys have stated multiple times that you would love an defensive lineman, but you're getting Kyle Pitts because I'm sorry, but the dude is just such a great receiving threat. I mean, this guy realistically could play basically only wide receiver in the NFL. But I think that'd be a poor decision because this dude has the size of a tight end, the catching ability of wide receiver, and blocks as good as any tight end can. I've said it before, he has the blocking of a Rob Gronkowski with the catching of an Odell, with the size and athleticism of a Galladay. This dude is just the all-around package. He's too good. You guys need receiving threats for Danny Dimes. Since the top 3 receivers are off the board, this guy is, besides Devontae Smith, arguably the best receiver in the class. And, he's not just a tight end. Even if he does play tight end for them, you can use 2 tight end sets. And Evan Ingram didn't even have that good of a year. So that's who you're getting. Then the 49ers here. 49ers, really easy pick for me. Caleb Farley at number 12 here. Maybe a bit of a drop. Could very well go in the top 10. Has a very high floor. He's a smaller, speedier corner, but has an amazing tool set, though. The guy's great in zone coverage, plays man very well as all. Good in the run game, so just the all-around corner, and I think he's great for this 49ers defense. Then the Chargers at 13, another really easy pick for me. Christian Darrisaw, he's risen up a ton this year in the rankings for everyone, basically. This guy's a really big, powerful guy. I think he's going to be a bit of a developmental project. However, I think he's still a good pick here. He can definitely get it down packed by the end of the first year for sure. Would go at left tackle. I think he's a nice pairing with Balaga. So, yeah. Then the Vikings at number 14. This is also another really easy pick for me. Kwity Paye has been fantastic for Michigan this year, and I love the pairing across from Danielle Hunter. Your guys' defensive line has been horrid, and part of that is due to Danielle Hunter. I gave them a corner last time because I do also think they need corner. I didn't disagree with taking a defensive lineman, though. And Kwity Paye being here, I love the fit with him and Hunter. You guys have some nice depth defensive linemen, but that's what they are, is they're depth. They're not starters. So, I like the pick here. I think it's a nice fit. Then the Patriots at number 15. And the Patriots are in an interesting situation because the top receiving threats are off the board. Bill Belichick would love a guy like Micah Parsons, JOK. Again, Zaven Collins could even go here. But, I just think whoever's there at quarterback next year, whether it be, they trade up and draft a quarterback maybe, which obviously didn't happen here, or, they somehow keep Cam Newton. I don't see that happening, but, they sign a guy, whoever's starting quarterback, they need some sort of receiving threat because there are no receiving threats for them. And I like maybe some Rashad Bateman. They have Terrace Marshall over Bateman. I don't. Bateman has drop issues, but I still think he is a top 15 player in this draft, if not top 20. Still a fantastic receiver. And again, I've said this multiple times, the drops can maybe be credited to Tanner Morgan a bit, but if not for the drops, I fully believe this guy might even go above Jalen Waddle. Not in this draft, obviously, but I think he's a great receiver still, and the Patriots just need some sort of receiving threat. Then the Cardinals here. Cardinals, again, a team that would love a Micah Parsons, a JOK, because these guys can play like literally anywhere on that defense for them. They need corner help, though, so badly. And, like JOK can actually play like a nice slot corner, but you guys need a true corner. And JC Horn's really nice from South Carolina. A bit of a bigger guy. Not bigger, but just a bit of a bigger build. Would maybe you'd like him to maybe be a bit more speedy, but he has a really nice tool set as well. I just like the fit here, and the Cardinals need a corner so badly. I had a Cardinals fan tell me that they didn't need a corner, and I didn't understand that at all because, I'm going to say it here. Patrick Peterson is at the end of his career. You have Drake Kirkpatrick and Byron Murphy beyond him. Byron Murphy has not played at all like where he was drafted to be. And Drake Kirkpatrick has not worked at all. So tell me why you don't need a corner. That's a great defense you have, but it needs a corner badly. This is the pick here. Then the Raiders at number 17. God dang, somehow Micah Parsons' fell all the way to 17, and he will fall no longer. I gave them Gregory Rousseau last time. I just think this is way too good a value to pass up. I mean, Micah Parsons at 17, this is a guy that realistically could go as high as number 4 to the Falcons, realistically. So for him to fall to 17 is just it's really crazy. But this guy is fantastic value for the Raiders. They would love a guy like this who can play, linebacker or safety. Really, if he lost some weight, could he doesn't really need to lose weight, but if he just got a bit speedier, could play corner even. But this dude's fantastic, and the Raiders defense would love to have this playmaker. He's one of those guys that single-handedly just instantly makes the defense better, and that's exactly what they need, is just take whoever's the best player available. Then at 18, we have the Dolphins. Here, I thought about this pick for a while, and I love Elijah Vera Tucker. I think they'd be a great pick here. But I think if they're going to take an offensive lineman, they need to take a tackle to replace Robert Hunt at the right tackle and then move him to guard. So the pick here, because I don't really think any tackle, the one tackle I would see going here is Alex Leatherwood, and I think it's a little too high at 18 for him. But Travis Etienne is, you can make an argument for Najee Harris being the better running back here. I still have Etienne as my number one, though. The dude's 5'11" and still brings just such power to his game. If he picks up speed, good luck trying to stop him. And just overall, he's better than Matt Breida. He just is. There's no argument. He is. So I just think it's a good fit here. And again, this dude's just so powerful. I think this draft in part has to be either just adding depth to the defense or giving weapons around Tua and improving that O-line. So I can see the argument for a tackle here. I don't like Rashawn Slater this high, like I said earlier, but, I think this is the pick here. Then at 19, the Washington football team miss out on their chance to get a quarterback. I am not taking Kyle Trask this high, especially since a fan got mad at me for that. Even I've thought about it, and I was like, yeah, he should not go at 19. But with Washington, though, I think they've either got to address a wide receiver or offensive line. And if they're going to go offensive line, I feel like it's basically anywhere, really, because they need help at almost all positions. But there are two really good receivers on the on the board, in Kadarius Toney and Terrace Marshall. And I like me some Kadarius Toney. He's a really speedy receiver, and I think that works nicely with Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin can go deep as well, but he's more of the physical catching guy. Kadarius Toney is the guy that's going to stretch the field and give McLaurin even more space to catch. So at this point, you're either going to sign a guy or I don't know, maybe they can get like Trask in the second round or something. But by the way, second and third round coming out tomorrow. But yeah, so it's like I think he stretches the field nicely for them. I just think he's a good fit here, and they kind of need some receiving help because beyond Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims had a nice game against the Buccaneers, and in Week 17 he had a nice game as well. And Logan Thomas has really started to step up at tight end, which I think kind of eliminates their need for tight end. But beyond that, I think they still need another receiving threat, though, and I like Kadarius Toney. So then the Bears at number 20. The Bears, I think, also either have to go offensive line or receiver. Most likely, Allen Robinson's not going to be there next year. And after Terrace Marshall, or after Allen Robinson, what do you have? Basically nothing. Which is why I'm going with Terrace Marshall here. Kind of gave the pick away, but Terrace Marshall has stepped up really nicely ever since Jamar Chase opted out. He's proven he can be that number one guy, and he wasn't even playing with that good of a quarterback. I forget the name of LSU's starter right now, but he's really not even that good. He's decent, but he's proved that he can be the number one. If Allen Robinson does leave, which is looking very likely, I think this guy can step up into that one spot, like from the start of the season, to be honest, because I also just see this kind of like leadership in him. I have a good vibe about him, so so I like him. Then the Colts at number 21. Originally, I probably would have gone receiver here, but then obviously, these two receivers are off the board. I think it's a little too high for Chris Olave, even though he had a decent game against Alabama and Clemson. But Anthony Costanzo just retired. If you Colts fans haven't heard the news, Anthony Costanzo officially retired today, or Tuesday, depending on when you're watching this, the 12th of January, okay? Jeez, I'm messing myself up. But since you guys are now down a tackle, I think it's important to get a replacement. I just can't take Rashawn Slater here. I still think it's too high for Slater. Mayfield, I think it's a little high for him. Who I do like, though, Liam Eichenberg used to be my pick for you guys a lot. Kind of had some issues against Alabama when they played. I mean, it's Alabama, of course, but you're getting a guy from Alabama here. I love Alex Leatherwood. He's a guy that's always really fallen to like the second or third round for me, and after looking at it, I'm not quite sure why, because I don't have that many gripes with him. The one thing I might say about him is that maybe he's not as NFL ready as like a Rashawn Slater or Liam Eichenberg, but I think he definitely has a much higher floor. I think he'd be fantastic at left tackle for the Colts, and especially since Costanzo retired, you guys need a replacement, and I like the pick here. Then the Titans at 22. Titans have to get an edge player here, and it's a pretty close pick between here for me, because you have Gregory Rousseau, who he'd obviously be more of a defensive end. But here's the problem, though, is that Rousseau is a developmental project. He had a great year, obviously, but he doesn't finish his plays. He just has some fundamental issues overall. So I think, if they're going to take an edge player here, they got to take a guy that's going to make an immediate impact, because that's what they need right now. Is they need someone who's going to come in there and immediately make their pass rush better, not someone that could eventually make it better, which is why I'm going to go with Azeez Ojulari here. This man has been a monster for Georgia all year long, but then especially after the bowl game, like, this dude's a first rounder for sure. They have him way too low in the rankings, but this dude's a beast, power machine, just fantastic all around, and he would make an instant impact for the Titans. I think he'd be great across from Harold Landry. Then we have the Jets again at 23. They took Zach Wilson with the second pick. And here, there's different positions they can go. They can go offensive offensive line because it's still not that good, really. There's a really nice running back in Najee Harris. I can definitely see that. However, it looks like Frank Gore might actually come back next year. And yeah, I know Frank Gore is old, and you might still like a new guy anyways. But since you traded away Avery Williamson, I think getting a guy like JOK back there into that defense would help it out so much. Now, I know the offense needs help, and Zach Wilson's obviously going to need some help there, but JOK is just too good a value to pass up. This is another guy that really could go within like the top 15, maybe even the top 10 picks. This guy can play linebacker, could even play safety. He's played a lot of slot corner as well at Notre Dame, but the dude's insane, and I think, wherever the Jets want to put him, he'll work, he'll fit, and he'll instantly make that defense better. Then the Steelers at 24. Wow. That's all I really got to say, Steelers. Wow. First off, I'd like to say that I was 5-0 in my predictions for the playoff Steelers, and then you made it 5-1. I actually trusted you, but Big Ben decided that he's too old to play football anymore. Marquise Pouncey said, "Yeah, I don't think I deserve a contract for next year." So being with that, there's two picks I see here. It's either an offensive lineman or a running back. Najee Harris is obviously really good. He is a bigger guy, very powerful. I think he'd fit really nice with the Steelers. I think it's a good, a good fit. I've seen some Steelers fans want a running back and some don't. But being with the fact that a lot of the Steelers offensive linemen probably aren't going to be there next year, or they're just not that good, and it's both cases for Marquise Pouncey. I think offensive lineman is a much bigger need as of right now. And, if you look at the centers available, like the top center is easily Creed Humphrey, but I think it's way too high for Creed Humphrey. And I would like Elijah Vera-Tucker here. I think it's too high for White Davis, but Elijah Vera-Tucker I would love here. However, if you're going to take an inside offensive lineman, I feel like it's got to be a safety because they have two good guards already in Matt Feeler and David Castro. So I think the pick here is going to be a tackle, and I'm going to go with Rashawn Slater here. So Rashawn Slater is a guy that a lot of people say constantly, like, he can play anywhere along the offensive line. And I was kind of just listening to that, but then once I've actually looked into it, it's like he's never played guard or center any time in his college football career. I don't know if he, I think I saw something he never even did in high school football. Okay. And then, so like my on YouTube, Hail Mary podcast, I watch him a lot. He basically brought up the fact that you're projecting this guy can play guard or center because he has short arms. And agreeing with him, I don't think that's a good assumption at all. So if they're drafting him here, it's definitely for tackle, but that's what they need because, Villanueva is probably not going to be there next year. And Okafor played decent for half the season, but then kind of really dropped off at the end. So Slater can play either left tackle or right tackle. I don't see him playing anywhere else along the offensive line, but I think he can be solid for that tackle wherever he plays, at right or left. And he's been good for Northwestern this year. So then the Jaguars at 25, they took Trevor Lawrence in the first round, pretty obviously. And here, I think that they have to help out that offense some more because the defense truly isn't that bad. They have pieces, Josh Allen, C.J. Henderson, Joe Schobert. I think you've got to get some help for that offense. And, I think it's important to protect your quarterback. We've seen that obviously with Joe Burrow. It's important to protect your quarterback. And I don't think it's too high for Jalen Mayfield at this point. He's a guy that I have probably a high second round grade on him, but this is a bit of a reach, but not a big reach. Again, you have to protect your offensive lineman. I like him better than Eichenberg here. Yes, and he's been fine for Michigan this year. It's just he has some issues, but I still like the pick here. And again, you got to protect your quarterback. So then the Browns at 26, and for me, it's a very easy pick here. Zaven Collins. This dude is probably really high on a lot of teams' boards. I've seen some reports that he could be like a surprise, like top 15 pick, maybe even top 10. So again, he could go top 15 or top 10. He's been that good for Tulsa. This dude has maybe the biggest range of skills and tool sets, like biggest, pass rush moves for a linebacker in the entire class. So there's a legitimate argument to make him the top linebacker instead of Parsons or JOK. But regardless, this is an absolute steal for the Browns. I would say their one big positional need is linebacker, and they don't need a guy that's going to make like the big flashy plays every now and then. They need a guy that's going to be consistently good for them, and Zaven Collins is consistently good because he doesn't really put up like those highlight plays. He doesn't have those fancy pick sixes or the big fumble hits. He's just a consistently good player every play, and that's what the Browns need. Then the Buccaneers at 27. Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown are both free agents. So you could definitely go receiver here, but they've got to keep at least one. And if it's anyone, I get to see Chris Godwin. So that's still two great guys. If any need on this team, it's a pass rush because Ndamukong Suh is old and or getting old, and they don't really have anyone across from him. So I really like Gregory Rousseau here, actually. Obviously a guy that's fallen a lot since the beginning of the year for, opting out in obvious reasons. But this guy, like I said, he's a developmental project, and that's why I think he fits here. Because when you're such a complete team like the Buccaneers, it's just you can afford to take a guy like this with some time and development. I think he could turn into a fantastic defensive lineman. I think he could be the type of like Warren Sapp for them. Again, with some time and development. So I think it's a pick that they can afford to take. And if it fails, it's a risk that at least was worth it. But they're such a well put together team that it's a risk they can take. Then the Ravens at 28. Just being the fact that they're probably not going to have either Judon or Ngakoue or maybe even both of them next year. And that Derek Wolfe has been meh this year, and Calais Campbell's getting older. They would really like a guy, like a new edge player. And Joseph Ossai is like literally the perfect fit for them because this guy can play 3-4 defensive end or 3-4 outside linebacker. He's played a lot more hand in the dirt this year, but I mean, this guy can literally play anywhere. I just said that, literally their left end, their right end, and their left outside and their right outside linebackers are all either old, meh, or going away really soon. And Joseph Ossai can literally play at any four of those positions and be great at it as well. I think this is just too perfect of a pick. Then at 29, the Saints. And the Saints, it's been the same pick for a while. It's going to stay the same pick. Some fans don't think he's a first rounder, but I think Nick Bolton's a first rounder. I think he's been really nice for Missouri. He's really athletic. Maybe could be a bit speedier, but I still think he's a great linebacker. And again, some people say he's not a first rounder, but I would disagree. I think he's a first rounder, and I think he's a nice fit for the Saints, especially when the Saints really just, again, are a team that don't have any other needs than linebacker because, yeah, they have Demario Davis. He's fantastic. Zach Bond might work out, and then you have Quan Alexander, who's not going to be there next year just because of cap issues. At best, Zach Bond works out, so you've got two linebackers. If not Zach Bond working out, then you've got one linebacker. So you guys need another one no matter what, and I think it's a pick here. Then the Bills at 30. I either see a need for a corner here. However, I think it's too high for any corners. I've seen some people taking Asante Samuel kind of high recently. I don't really like that. Eric Stokes, I definitely think could go here. I don't know. Eric Stokes to me is kind of just basically Tre'Davious White, but not as good. And if you're gonna get a guy, I'd like I'd like a guy like Asante Samuel or Darion Kendrick here. It's just too high for them. And the pick's been the same for a while, but Elijah Vera Tucker, he's my favorite offensive lineman in the class besides Penei Sewell. The dude's fantastic. It's the one really position that they, quote, need on this team, besides like a second corner. They're just such a complete team that getting this pick, there's no risk, and it just improves your team. So I think it's a good pick. The Packers at 31. The Packers are a team that would have really liked for Nick Bolton to fall to them. I think it's too high for any of these guys. Dylan Moses is really low at 66. That's ridiculous, but he's still not a first rounder to me. A high second rounder. But again, so no linebackers to really take here. So in this case, you got to go wide receiver. I think you have to get Aaron Rodgers some other receiving threat, if not Rodgers, which, again, I still think it's completely stupid. They're trying to move on from him right now. But if it is Jordan Love, he needs another receiving threat besides Devontae Adams. And Chris Olave has actually had really nice he didn't have that bad of a championship game, but he had a great game against Clemson, had a really solid year overall. He's a player that has great hands, good athleticism. He definitely could be a lot speedier. That's one of the big nicks on him, is that his speed really isn't there. But otherwise, he's a very solid receiver, and I think he fits well with Devontae Adams. And so I think it's a good pick here. Then the Chiefs with the last pick of the video, the last pick of the first round. The Chiefs here, they could go different positions. They could go with wide receiver, but I think it's a little too high for either of these guys. They could go linebacker, but again, I don't think any of these guys are first rounders. Could still use a second corner. Don't see any of these guys going to them. Maybe Eric Stokes, but So the pick here for me is going to be a defensive lineman or an edge player again. Just because, again, Chris Jones is a one-man army. He's been great by himself, obviously, but why not get him some help? The dude's been fantastic, obviously, but they could use a nice, edge player. And Jalen Phillips, I think, can either replace Frank Clark or go on that, left side for them. Because Jalen Phillips has been another guy. He's been a monster for Miami. Great power rusher. Only reason he's really not getting more attention is because he's playing right next to Azeez Ojulari, who gets a lot of the attention, and he really doesn't even get that much attention. So if you're being overshadowed by a guy that's not even really getting attention, you're not going to get any attention. And this guy should be, because he's a very nice power run stopper, also gets to the quarterback, very consistent with his pressures. I think it's a great pick here and a great fit for the Chiefs. So I just think it's a good pick here. So yeah, thank you for watching my fourth official mock draft. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. By the way, thank you guys for 100 subscribers. It's a small number to a lot of people, but it's a big number to me. So I was very excited when I hit that. Shout out to Giants for Life, because he was my official 100th subscriber. So yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like the video, share it. If you want to, comment down your opinion below. I love discussing with you guys. Call me an idiot, call me whatever you like. It's there. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll have the second and third rounds out tomorrow. And I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.